There was this young fella, you know, he lost all his brothers and his dad, and it was just him and his mother, you know, they were the only ones left in his family, you know, and boy, tough go, you know, every time the camp would move, there they was, foot, they didn't have much, everything they had, they hauled on their back, you know, to the next campsite, then they'd sit up. When everybody else was cooking and getting ready for bed, they were just now setting up, you know, getting ready to cook and eat. Anyway, I guess this young fella, he heard there was a war party going out there and go steal horses. So he asked this guy that was going to lead this war party, he wanted to go along, get some horses for his mother and him. This guy said, no, you're too young. He said, wait a couple of years, I'll take you out then. He said, no, we need horses, we can't keep up with the rest of the camp. No, you're too young, you wait. So instead of taking that for the answer, as an answer, he went to the band chief and told him the situation. That old fellow said, yeah, it's good, it's good. He said, yeah, about time you learn. He said, I'll talk for you. He said, I'll get you on that war party. You get some horses for you. So I guess this old band leader went to that guy that was leading this war party. You know, really talked good for this young fella. He got to go. Anyway, this guy that was leading this war party told him, he said, well, he said, you make sure you got extra moccasins and make sure you got pemmican. He said, we might be gone for a while. He said, you take everything you're going to need, you think you'll need to survive out there when we're traveling. And be sure and get yourself medicine, horse medicine or some kind of medicine, you know, for when we're there. So this young fella, he was happy, boy, his mother was happy. She made him moccasins, had pemmican for him, all bagged up. Anyway, he said, we're going to meet, this war party, so we're going to meet on a certain night at this place. Here, I guess that night there was there must have been a bunch of them, you know, must have been about 20 of them guys that were all there for that war party. Here they all took off west. I guess they were going towards Sweetgrass Hills all the time. Grovans used to have what they called the wolves or scouts, you know, them scouts. They'd always be out in front, going over the land, looking to see if they could see enemy or camps, you know, or horses or anything like that. They'd come back and report, telling there's nothing. Nothing. I guess they got to Sweetgrass Hills. It was on the West Butte. That's the one that's the furthest to the west on the Sweetgrass. They was camped down below and them scouts went up and they was looking around and they come back down. They seen them, boy. Foreheads were painted black. They knew they were successful in their scouting. So I guess they knew what was going on. I guess there was a scouting song they used to sing years ago and them scouts would come back and report. Anyway, they got back and reported that they seen a large camp, you know, kind of what is that little town, Sunburst, up in them hills area somewhere. There's a big camp up there with a lot of horses, I guess. So I guess that night they all got together and that guy that was leading the war party, he told me, he said, well, he said, what we're going to do tomorrow, he said, we'll leave everything right here. We'll just strip down to what we essentially need, like our weapons and, you know, we won't take anything else. Just down for a breechcloth and moccasins and our weapons. That next morning, they said, in the morning, he said, we'll go in pairs. He said, 2 at a time. He said, when they get back, the next 2 will take off. We'll get our horses. So before sunrise, I guess some Grovans were off that hill and next to that camp in that brush, they were hiding around there. And, geez, I guess 2 of them guys would take off into that camp, turn to wolf or bird, come back to a string of horses. Of course, they were all getting horses on, you know, close to where they were coming, you know. Next 2 would go in and come back, turn himself into a dog or a coyote, you know. Next 2 like that, come back and forth. Pretty soon this young fellow that went along to get horses, getting kind of anxious. He said, when am I going to get to go? He said, I want to go and get horses for my mother and I. He was kind of getting loud, you know, in the morning, you know, especially in an enemy camp. He said, be quiet. He said, well, be quiet. He said, you just do your job. No, he said, I want to go and get a couple of horses for our mother. My mom and I, you know, he was getting real loud. And those other guys were kind of getting worried, you know, that they'd be found out. So Pretty soon one of them fellas stepped up. He said, yeah, here, use my medicine. He said, go and get yourself a couple of horses. So I guess this kid, he put that on his hair somehow and took off running, I guess. And geez, I turned into a dog going to that camp. By then, all them horses that were close to where they were all gone. They were all taken by them Grovans. Anyway, he had to go way on the other side of the camp. God, that's waited a long time for them to return. You used to have what they call like a false dawn and a dawn. It'd be like a false light that would come on before it would really get light, you know, in the mornings. I guess one of that band leader that ward chief finally said, one of you guys, I said, go check, see where that kid's at, see if something happened to him. Here, I guess one of them turned into a owl, or a crow, that's what it was, crow. I guess went flying over the camp. Geez, he heard a great big fight going on in the back. He flew over it, and there was that kid. Turned himself into a bitch dog. All them dogs was fighting who was going to go next.